Good morning and welcome to Vlogmas Day 14. As you can probably tell, I am under the weather ever so slightly. So I skipped Vlogmas yesterday because I woke up and I was very tired and kind of just groggy and lethargic to the point where I filmed nothing. And today's my second to last day of work. So I actually ended up working last night a little bit too because I had a lot of stuff I needed to get done. Tomorrow's my last day of work this year. So today I have a bunch of random meetings and different things that people need to get tied up before I'm off for the rest of the year. I wanted to actually film today because I do feel better than I did. I sound worse, but I'm hoping I can kick this within like 5 days because I don't want to be sick through the holidays and I don't want my entire time off to be sickness from being overworked and being really run down from the last 4 months. I'm surprised that it took me this long to get sick, and it kind of just came out of nowhere, honestly. I woke up and suddenly, 2 days ago I woke up with a cough, and then yesterday I woke up got slammed. So I'll show what I got from Sephora today. I will do some housework. I need to have some breakfast soon because it's noon, and yeah, just rainy out, terrible, so nothing really that I need to do. But I have the whole house to myself today because Tommy will be out a little bit later. He's gonna be playing D&D with some friends after work, so I won't see him until pretty late. So he bought me food for today, so I wasn't gonna have to leave again. Another thing I'm gonna share today is all the stuff I've been watching in December, because I do a video like that in January where I talk about everything that I have watched in the full year. But because I'm not gonna go outside today and it's just an inside day, it's just gonna be a list of things I've watched this year plus the stuff that I'm really trying to get through, because I got an Apple account for Apple TV that only lasted 3 months, and I got it when my parents came to visit back in October. Good morning, yes. We got 2 Christmas cards in the mail, woo! Oh my god, this really does make my day. And they probably came in yesterday, but I wouldn't have seen them. Ah, so cute! Oh wait, oh, it said Riley. I thought it was my friend Riley's, but no, this is from Tommy's family. I was gonna say, when did my swimming friend's birthday twin decide not to do a photo card? But that is not their card. I don't know if I've shown this yet this year, but it looks very filled out this time around because we have to keep covering up old ones to put the new ones on top. This year's, of course, we've got ours straight front and center. I don't want to cover up the Mandalorian one too much because it's still one of the best cards I think I've ever gotten, even though it's not for someone I know at all, and it was just for a donation-based Christmas card. It's very dark, and it is 4:15, which, as expected, dark. Oh, we're in Philly. Yeah. So, I have a full list of all the movies and TV shows that I watched this year, and I always do a video like this because I watch TV and movies to unwind, and I also love to see actors and people that I recognize in different shows. So it's really cool when you recognize actors and characters across different platforms, across different types of television shows and movies, and we get their breaks. I just find that very fun. So I want to first do all of the things that I'm watching on Apple TV right now, and then I will go through my highlight movies and TV shows from this year, whether they came out this year or not, and just how much I recommend watching them based on my own personal preferences and styles and the genres that I really, really gravitate towards. So, Apple TV right now, I'm watching The Morning Show currently, and I am enjoying that one more than I expected to, because now I'm on the middle of season 3 and I only started it about a week ago. It's been out for a while and I didn't realize how heavily the second season was going to lead into the pandemic, but it really did, and so there you go. Ted Lasso, I loved the first season of this. The second season for me was a little bit weaker, and then I have 1 episode left in the 3rd season right now, and it ends with 3 seasons, so I'm just truthfully waiting until tomorrow the 15th when I'm done with work and it's my last day of work of the year to just watch that and just kind of get cozy and settle in for the rest of the month off, which, to be fair, I just learned right now I have to sign back on next Wednesday, which is really annoying, but I get to carry over a holiday until the new year. But yeah, that show made me feel very inspired, and also watching the leadership and watching the family closeness and it's just inspiring to watch, and it's a really good feel-goody show, which is why I'm not surprised now, having watched it, knowing how many awards it won during the first 2 seasons, and like it really broke out as like an incredible show that was out a couple years ago. For All Mankind kind of blew my mind because I was getting different trailers for it for a while when I was watching Invasion, which is a show my dad and I started, which is why we got the Apple like TV in general, like started the 3-month trial. He was visiting and he's like, I started this show called Invasion and I watched the whole first season, and season 2 is out and like coming out, and I want to like watch it while we're here. And I was like, okay. So that was the show that we watched together that really kind of got us into Apple TV. And in one of those episodes, they had shown at the very beginning For All Mankind, and I was like, oh, I feel like I've heard a friend talk about this show, and it is blowing my mind how good that show is and how much I'm obsessed with it, because I started watching it like one day while Tommy was sitting here, and the pilot, like first 10 minutes is nuts. Like it is such a good show, and like man's contact with space and just like, you know, after the moon and the alternate history that follows with how in the world mankind will keep up with the space race if the Cold War kind of never really ended and just kept going, and space travel just kind of was blown open after the moon. So yeah, it was, it's great. It's so good. That is probably the most recommended show I have from my Apple time watching, because that and Ted Lasso, but like who hasn't seen Ted Lasso at this point? I feel like I was the only one left who hadn't watched it. So honestly, For All Mankind, like ding, 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 the top of my radar for like one of the top TV shows I've watched this year. Like I think we finished the first 3 seasons already, and season 4 is almost done. So we're waiting until it's completed to try and finish it up before our free trial ends. Apple TV all wrapped up at this point. So I didn't count how many shows were on here, but like TV shows this year have kind of taken the cake, because it's really easy to watch a bunch of limited series and different things that only have like 6 to 8 episodes or even 10 episodes. Like I do love binge watching different television shows that have been out for a long time, but honestly, there weren't too many. This year's binge watch was Arrested Development, because I had never seen it before, and that show went like hilariously off the rocker very early on in like the 2nd or 3rd season. So an obsession that I came across in March that I wasn't expecting to know or like, or I just didn't know what it was really, is a show called Criminal, and they have Germany, France, the UK, and there was one other country, and it's on Netflix. And I was surprised by how much I loved it, because it's just kind of a psychological thriller that takes place in an interrogation room and within those walls. So it's basically like a bottle episode. The entire thing takes place in 2 fixed locations that are connected, and there's not a lot of set involved. Like it's just the floor of like an interrogation for like a criminal or somebody who has been accused of something. And it's incredible. Like it's really good. And I've watched all 3 of those, and I gotta say, shocked me with how interesting it was and how well done it was. So I would definitely recommend those. My Star Wars for Mandalorian and Bad Batch, I basically watch anything that comes out with Marvel and with Star Wars, because that's just kind of my area of always having reliable things to watch. So definitely very, very excited and really, really enjoyed both of those. The Bad Batch is just so good. I even have a little Crosshair Funko Pop, because I really genuinely love that show very, very much. And the animation is beautiful, and I love how they've tied it into the rest of like the Clone Wars and to the Mandalorian. Like it ties into everything, and that's kind of what they're doing. They're making a lot of things canon now, and it's kind of really, really great to watch the whole world get built out. It is a lot of time that had to be invested into watching a lot of it, but I think that was my big pandemic thing, was I really got involved in watching and catching up with a lot of the animated series that Star Wars had come out with, and once I got all of that under my belt, it really expanded the Star Wars universe for me, which I really, really enjoyed. Shadow and Bone, I watched season 2 and then they canceled it 2 weeks ago, which I was really, really bummed about, because I really thought that show was doing very, very well, and it didn't, and that was a bummer. Beef on Netflix, holy crap. Ali Wong and that whole cast. It was kind of a really nuts show. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And it was very, very good. The Last of Us. I was so late to this, but I watched it on a couple flights because I was on so many different trips this year to see my family, and different events were happening, like for my brother's dental school and for like us going back for 2 weddings, that I had so many opportunities to watch these while I was on planes. And The Last of Us was so good. I knew it was good, and I finally got around to it because HBO is on a lot of Air Canada flights. Oh, Titans finished. Oh, Titans season 4 ended. That show constantly surprised me. The show and the actors and the character development I really, really love. I think it's a really, really well done and well made show, and they closed it out and it was just really, really good. I don't know, I think it's just the nostalgia of it mostly too, because Teen Titans was such a big part of my childhood that watching like a live action version of it just makes me very happy that it's still something that in the DC universe is being carried forward as something that people still will watch. Only Murders in the Building. Every single season, I'd watch it. Season 1 is still, in my opinion, the best season they've ever made for it. And finally, just earlier this month, Loki. Loki season 2 was probably one of my favorite things I've watched this year. Marvel related by far. It is the best thing that Marvel put out this year, in my opinion. I still haven't watched the Marvels, so I can't say that of everything that has come out, I've actually watched all of and it has done the best, but it is like, Loki's always been a favorite character of mine. I really love Tom Hiddleston, even when he was like a villain in Thor. He was always such a good character that everybody loved, right? Like he was always, there's a reason he's still a part of the MCU, and there's a reason that he is still such an active character that people care enough to pay attention to, and got his own show, right? Like it's just so, it was a really powerful finale, and it was really, really good, and it was something that they definitely did a lot of justice in the way that they made his character develop and, you know, become a hero for everybody. So gotta say, that one, close to my heart, made me very happy. Okay, in terms of movies, I really got on the Death on the Nile and Orient Express train early in January because Tommy showed it to me. Oh my god, this is the year I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. I was just late to the game for this. I knew I was gonna love it, but I hadn't had the time or been in the mindset to just sit down and consume that movie. But I knew I was gonna love it when I watched it, and I did really love it when I watched it. Like, it was very, very good. The cast is really fun. The idea of it's very fun. The representation, we love that. So yeah, it's just, it was a movie I finally got around to seeing because my family, we all sat down and watched it while we were in Mexico together. And we just watched a lot of movies while we were there together. But that was a really, really good one that when we found, we were like, okay, Alicia hasn't seen this one. We should make sure this one happens for her on this trip. And we did, so yay. Guardians 3 broke my heart. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But I watched it 4 or 5 times since then, and it breaks my heart every time, but it is a fantastic movie. And if you haven't seen it already, be prepared for a lot of really adorable pet things and have your heart hurt a little bit, but a happy, happy story and closure to the end of that series, because I think they did confirm that that is it for that group. And Dune. Also late to the game for Dune, but I watched it with Tommy when it came out on Netflix and was good. They've postponed the new one to come out on March 1st as opposed to, well, it would have already come out in November. So at this point, it's just something that we're waiting for, and the second one looks amazing. I didn't read the book personally. Tommy did and was very excited for it. I'm excited for it just because I don't like to read and I like to watch the movies. But the first one was really good, and they've set up for a lot of really good things. So I'm really stoked to see what that one is going to turn out like and how long it's going to be, because it looks like it's going to be 2.5 hours. Quite long, or maybe 3. I don't know. It's going to be a lengthy film, but I'm stoked for it because I think it's going to be really good. Oh my god, that was a big month for me. I watched Avatar: The Way of Water and Oppenheimer in the same month. Avatar I watched at home because it was on Disney and I could pause it and watch it over the course of 2 days because it was a very long film. And Oppenheimer I watched in the theater in the very back row with Tommy at a packed movie theater, probably close to the opening weekend of it. And that was the movie of the year for me. I think that was probably my favorite thing I had watched that had come out this year, because how could you not? Like, it was just an amazing movie. Oh, okay. Worth all the hype. It was definitely good. If you haven't seen it already, I would definitely watch it, but I feel like a lot of people have already seen that film, to be fair. So I watched Across the Spider-Verse on a plane. I really enjoyed that movie. Not much more to say about that because I wasn't prepared for it to end when it did. I didn't know it was going to be a 2-part movie, so I felt like I was a bit duped by that, but you know, everyone's making 2-part films now, speaking of Dune and things like that, so. And a hilarious one that I wish I had watched sooner, and I think it only came out last year. Actually, was this movie this year? I didn't think I was too late to the game on this one, but the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie I've seen several times, and it was fantastic. Like, it was fantastic. It was so funny. As somebody who plays but is not like a master of Dungeons and Dragons, very, very funny references, but the movie can also be understood even if you don't play the game, so it's also really, really fun. It's just like, it was just a hilarious film. Like, it was a feel-good, funny movie. It wasn't too dark. It was kind of wholesome and very, very well made, to the point where you could watch it and be like, yeah, I feel like I took something away from this and didn't expect to, honestly. It surpassed my expectations. That's this year's TV and movie update, because what else was I going to do while staying at home today? Thanks for listening to all of that. And yes, I'm going to go back to watching TV now, speaking of.